What's up, horror fiends? My name is Evan Makrogiannis, and I'm one half of the writing directing team of Halsey Films, based out of New York City. First movie we did was a slasher serial killer film called The Turnpike Killer, which was heavily influenced by movies like Maniac, Toolbox Murders, New York Ripper. We wanted to be gritty, sleazy, have that old school, 70s, 80s spirit, very brutal, honest. It was shot on DV cassette, so we wanted to have that kind of like shot on video, grainy look to it. We shot it around, basically The Turnpike Killer is about a serial killer who kidnaps girls in New York City, kills them, and then he dumps their remains along the turnpike. And that came out, we shot that in 2008, 2009. It was picked up by New York Horror Film Productions, and now it's going to be coming out in Wild Eye Releasing. And we followed that up with a movie called The Super. And The Super was an homage to 70s gritty, grimy exploitation cinema. It was kind of like Taxi Driver meets Maniac. Had a little bit of everything from political satire to necrophilia, rape, both genders, all kinds of violence. We had a very good cast. We had Lynn Lowry, of course, from I Spill Your Blood and The Crazies and Cat People and I Drink Your Blood, rather. And Lynn was an amazing actress. She flew in from Los Angeles. We had Ron Brownstein, otherwise known as Necro. He's the father of death rap. And we rounded it out with a cast that was just very cool, like local New York, New Jersey actors. Not so much people who were already part of the horror scene. We got a lot of people who, people wouldn't recognize, because I think sometimes there's too many, especially local films, there's too many of the same actors kind of recycled. And when I see that, I kind of have the same feeling when like a mainstream horror movie comes out, and then they've got like the whoever the current star is from like television. Immediately my mind goes, oh, that's so and so from TV. We had Manouche, the German horror actress. We had Ruby LaRocca, but pretty much everyone else, they were just people that auditioned. So that came out. Both movies came out on DVD and VHS. Actually, the Turnpike Killer VHS box was the first big box, accurate big box, to come out in the VHS revival. Massacre Video put out 555 in the big box, but it had a DVD inside at first. There was no VHS tape. We were the first ones to put out the big box, accurate size, top flaps, everything, and give it the treatment that movies had back then. And The Super also saw a VHS release, so we really dug that. Since then, we've been keeping busy. Currently, I did a short called Human that was DP'd by Bart Mastronardi, who people in the horror scene might know from a movie called Vindication. He's also worked on so many movies. Alan Rowe Kelly, who did The Bloodshed, he edited the movie, and they've got a fantastic film coming out now called Tales of Poe, which is an anthology of Edgar Allan Poe movies. And that's the movie I did is kind of more of a, I don't want to say avant-garde, but it's a half-silent film that is driven by the music of Coil, who's if you know them, they've done experimental music that was meant to kind of like manipulate the mind and stir up certain emotions and sensations. So the movie is about a guy who's got a sexual identity crisis, and he's a murderer, but he's still human. I find it fascinating that human beings can be capable of such atrocious, hideous things, but at some point in time they were a baby bouncing off someone's lap. And what happened along the road of life that made them do that. made them become, sociopaths. Were they born that way? Were they turned into that? So that's called Human, and my partner Brian, he's doing a short film that's not done yet. It's almost done. Once that's finished, we're gonna get together and co-direct a third short. And once those are done, we're gonna release that as an anthology, probably as some. It'll come out on DVD, but I think we're gonna do some kind of like limited edition box set kind of thing. In the meantime, I've been helping produce my son Liam. He did a movie called Survive, which is a zombie gore flick. He wrote and directed it. Johnny Dickey, who did Slaughter Tales, he did the effects and acted in it. It's got a pretty cool cast. That's just coming out now. We're actually at Cafe Z Grindhouse nights. Survive is playing here for the first time. This will be the second screening in the States. It debuted in Germany at Weekend of Fear. Trying to think. While that's going on, Liam is also shooting a movie called Night of the Magician, which I'm helping him produce, which is a really cool Bloodsucking Freaks meets Wizard of Gore meets Kolchak. It's a really fun story. And it was fun doing that because for like 5 years in a row, I was immersed in like writing, directing The Turnpike Killer and The Super, and I was kind of like burnt out. So to be able to kind of just sit back and like let other people handle the writing and let other people handle the directing and the lights and everything, and basically my job was just to produce and help things work right. So that's been fun. And Brian and myself are currently writing a movie called Untermeyer Park, which will be the next full-length feature. Untermeyer Park is a story that stems out of the Son of Sam killings, and basically there were theories held by the police department and the media and people in general that Berkowitz did not act alone, that he was part of a cult. And there's a lot of evidence that points to it. I mean, the week that he was arrested, the last murder, there were eyewitnesses who saw the killer, and they described him as a tall, blonde guy. Well, Berkowitz is not a tall, blonde guy, but he did live in a building with two brothers who matched the description. Those guys were also shady. One guy turned out to be a murderer. Those are the Carr brothers. Their father was the guy who owned the dog Sam, who spoke to Berkowitz. And there's evidence that these guys were all involved in a satanic cult, or a cult of the Church of the Process, which kind of fuses Jesus and Satan into one. So the story basically picks up in modern times, where basically there's these young journalists who want to write a story about how these killings are still going on and that they were connected to Son of Sam. Two of them disappear, they end up being murdered, and this cop who worked in the 70s, he was a rookie at the time of the Son of Sam murders, who believed that all the killers were never really caught. He kind of comes into the picture and tries to like solve what's going on. And I think we're going to cast Lynn Lowry. We're looking into that. We're going to bring back some people who were in the Super and the Turnpike Killer. There's some other actors we're looking into, but right now we're just finishing the story, looking at locations, looking at who's going to be the effects artist. For the Super, we had Brian Spears, who's fantastic. He worked on Stakeland, I Sell the Dead. Turnpike Killer, we had this guy named Anthony Pepe, who I think he did Malevolence in the Attic, and he was on Face Off on the FX channel. But Untermeyer Park, we hope to shoot next summer. I think we're kind of going for like a Zodiac vibe, which was just a great movie, Fincher's Zodiac movie. But again, it's going to be, it'll have our, trademark stamp of sleaze and brutality. But we want to make sure it's done right. We're not going to rush into it. There's certain things that we want to make sure we have, especially when it comes to budget and locations.